All right, let's talk about one of the most important decisions you'll make as a chemical engineering student, your laptop. This isn't just a machine for notes, it's your lab, your simulator, your everything. So today, we're going to cut through all the tech jargon and find the absolute best machine for your demanding coursework in 2026. Let's dive in. So, why is your major so different? Well, think about a typical Tuesday afternoon. You're probably trying to run a MATLAB script, you've got a console simulation chugging away in the background, and you're juggling about 20 browser tabs for a lab report that's due tomorrow. Yeah, that's not a normal workload, and a normal laptop just isn't going to cut it. So here's our game plan for today. First, we'll dig into that Chem-E laptop dilemma. Then we'll build your core spec toolkit, what you actually need. After that, we'll meet the 2026 top contenders. I'll show you exactly how to choose your laptop, and we'll finish with the final equation. Let's be real. For a chemical engineering student, a laptop is so much more than a device for class. It's your mobile command center for the next 4, maybe 5 years. It's where you'll run simulations, analyze data, and design processes. Picking the right one isn't just a purchase, it's a serious investment in your own productivity and, trust me, your sanity. Okay, so what does that actually mean when you're looking at specs? It is so easy to get lost in a sea of acronyms and gigahertz, so we're going to forget all that and just focus on what these components actually do for the software you'll be living in and day out. So what's in our toolkit? Well, first, a strong processor. That's a no-brainer. It's the engine that runs your calculations. Next, RAM. You can survive with 16 gigs, but honestly, 32 gigs is the real sweet spot for running multiple heavy programs. A fast SSD means your massive project files open now, not in 5 minutes. A great display is non-negotiable for those late nights. And the last two here, thermals and a GPU, they are so often overlooked, but they are absolutely crucial for engineers. You know, most of those specs, but I really want to zoom in on thermals for a second. Imagine trying to run a marathon while wearing a winter coat. You get hot and have to slow down, right? That's what your laptop does when it can't cool itself. It's called thermal throttling, and it can turn a 4-hour simulation into a 6-hour nightmare. Good thermals mean your laptop can keep running at full speed, no sweat. All right, now for the fun part. We've talked about the what and the why, so let's meet the machines themselves. I've lined up the top contenders for 2026, and each one kind of has its own personality and specialty, so you can find the one that's a perfect match for you. Kicking things off with a real heavy hitter, the MacBook Pro. With Apple's latest silicon, this machine is an absolute champion of efficiency and battery life. We're talking about all-day power, even when you're coding or doing research. For the general chemie student, it's just incredibly hard to beat. So, the pros are pretty obvious, right? The battery life is legendary, it feels incredibly fast and responsive, and that screen is just gorgeous. But, and this is a big but, some engineering software is still Windows only, so you might need a workaround. Even more important, what you buy is what you get. You can't upgrade the RAM or storage later, so you have to choose those specs very carefully from day one. Okay, but what if you're the student who plans on running the really intense stuff? I'm talking massive console models, complex fluid dynamics, the heavy-duty work. Well, for that, you need a true mobile workstation. And that brings us to the Lenovo ThinkPad P-Series. These things are legendary in the engineering world for a reason. Its superpower is what we call sustained performance. It can basically run at full throttle for hours and hours without breaking a sweat, all thanks to some serious cooling. But all that muscle comes at a price. These machines are definitely heavier than your average laptop, and as you add more power, that price tag can climb up fast. So what if you want that power, but you also want something that looks great and doesn't weigh a ton? Well, that's the sweet spot for the Dell XPS line. It strikes this beautiful balance between performance and portability, making it one of the absolute best premium Windows laptops out there for your everyday engineering grind. You get this beautiful, professional design, a drop-dead gorgeous screen, and plenty of power for things like MATLAB and Aspen. But let's be clear, it's not a dedicated workstation like the ThinkPad. When it comes to those truly massive, multi-day simulations, it might start to huff and puff a little bit. Okay, this next one might surprise you. Don't let the Republic of Gamers brand fool you for a second. The Zephyrus G14 is an engineering student's secret weapon. It crams an unbelievable amount of power, especially graphics power, into a super compact 14-inch body. It's like having a sports car engine in a small hatchback. This little thing is an absolute beast for any task that can use the GPU, and its cooling system is fantastic for its size. But there's always a catch, right? When you actually use all that power, you can practically watch the battery meter drop in real time. And for some people, staring at complex data on a 14-inch screen all day can feel a little tight. Now for something totally different. Are you the kind of person who thinks better with a pen in your hand? Do you love sketching out process flow diagrams or taking handwritten notes? If that's you, then the Surface Laptop Studio 2 is a completely unique machine that blends a powerful laptop with a digital drawing board. That unique hinge that lets you pull the screen forward is a total game changer for technical drawing and note-taking. And it's surprisingly powerful, with some pretty solid GPU options. Just be aware, it's a bit heavier than it looks, and just like the MacBook, you're locked into the specs you choose on day one, no upgrades later. So, finally, what if you need absolutely everything, the maximum possible power you can stuff into a laptop? This is for the heavy hitters, the thesis projects, the grad-level research, the massive-scale simulations. This is where you enter the world of true mobile workstations, like Dell's Precision line or Lenovo's beefiest ThinkPads. We're talking about legitimate desktop-level power here. These machines are built to run demanding engineering software for days on end without even blinking. But the trade-offs are significant. They are heavy, they are very expensive, and their battery life, let's just say you'll get to know your power adapter very, very well. So let's put it all together on one page. You can really see that constant tug of war between power and portability here. At the top, the MacBook Pro and Zephyrus nail that balance. At the bottom, the big workstations completely sacrifice portability for pure, raw power. And the XPS and Surface find their own unique sweet spots right there in the middle. Okay, that was a lot of options. So how in the world do you actually pick the one for you? Let's switch gears and build your personal decision-making blueprint. It's actually pretty simple. It all boils down to 3 simple steps. First, be really honest with yourself. What kind of work will you actually be doing? Mostly reports and coding, or are you planning on heavy simulations? Second, future-proof your investment. Seriously, aim for 32 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte SSD if you can swing it. You will thank yourself in your junior and senior years. And finally, pick a screen size that fits your life. Do you value being able to toss it in any bag or having more screen space to work on? And I want this to be the key takeaway. In so many other majors, any old laptop will do the job. But in chemical engineering, the right machine can literally save you hours and hours of frustration. It lets you focus on the actual engineering, not on fighting with a slow computer. So as you make your choice, think beyond just the specs for a second. This machine is going to be your partner. It's the tool you'll use to design sustainable new processes or maybe develop life-saving materials. So the real question isn't just which laptop to buy, but what amazing, world-changing problems are you going to solve with it?